Yo, mic check, mic check. What's up, everybody? How we doing, man? Shout out to the community. You know what? A week we had in Rhode Island high school football, man. Definitely to say it was lit is the least. These lights be killing me. That's why I gotta wear these glasses. These glasses are not to impress, just so I can kind of look bright. But what's going on, everybody, man? Looking at the stats, the statistics, rewatching some games. I know my schedule changed a little bit. You know, a lot of you are used to the traditional Friday night joints, but my work schedule, gotta work. Cumberland putting it to EP, man. Liam was saying they don't respect me. They don't respect me. Ponaganset and Johnston, another game. I know I've been a little rough on my man Cato. I mean, now you could probably see why. Yeah, I mean, we got to call a spade, but shout out to them kids up there in Ponaganset. Shout out to you guys, man, hanging strong. Yo, keep your head high. You guys are doing what you were taught to do. You know, the leadership just got to get their head out of the wazoo, but you guys should have your head strong. You're an experienced group of kids. You guys can all play football. You know that. So just go out there and raise your head high and be the best football player that you could be for you. We'll definitely be back with more scores from Rhode Island high school football. It's your boy Mikey, man. Can we keep it real?
What I mean by that is they say, Coach, put me where you need me. They never complain about playing time. They understand that competition breeds success, and that if they're going to be successful, if they're going to get playing time, they need to compete day in and day out. They also understand that sometimes their role on the team is not being a starter. It's being the best dang scout player the team has to help them get ready for Friday night. So if you don't like that Coach plays favorites, become one of his favorites. Do all those things I said. Compete like no other. Bring it every day. And if all those things are in place and you have character and you're selfless, you're going to become one of his favorites. Take it for what it's worth. Stay strong. I had a player of mine, a young man, complain just a few days ago about one of my assistant coaches that plays favorites. And I looked at him. I said, do you really think Coach so-and-so plays favorites? And he's like, yeah, I do. I'm like, become one of his favorites. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, listen, we all have favorites. And he was adamant. He's like, you don't play favorites. I was like, yeah, I do. I explained to him, in my opinion, all coaches play favorites. We do. We have favorite players. And 99% of the time, they're the ones that are selfless team players. They show up early to film study, to off-season weight training, to practices, to games. They compete in all they do, in the classroom, in the weight room, in practice, in games. They put others first. What I mean by that is they say, Coach, put me where you need me. They never complain about playing time. They understand that competition breeds success, and that if they're going to be successful, if they're going to get playing time, they need to compete day in and day out. They also understand that sometimes their role on a team is not being a starter. It's being the best dang scout player the team has to help them get ready for Friday night. So if you don't like that Coach plays favorites, become one of his favorites. Do all those things I said. Compete like no other. Bring it every day. And if all those things are in place and you have character and you're selfless, you're going to become one of his favorites. Take it for what it's worth. Stay strong.
There we go. That's my boy Kurt Hines up there in Cordona, San Diego. He's out in San Diego coaching. He comes from Barrington, Rhode Island, played for the Eagles. Good friend of the show. Shout out to Coach Hines. Look at some of the scores this week. We had some great football games, and not so great for some other teams. A lot of finger pointing going on. But how are we doing, man? If you don't know who it is, you better ask somebody.
That's the bad guy. Bad guy. Bad guy. That's the bad guy. The bad guy. The bad guy. Commission. The bad guy. The bad guy. The bad guy. Load up that queen.
What is going on, man? We're gonna look into some scores right now. Rhode Island high school football had a great week. And I want to send a shout out, man, to Justin Erickson, the the new athletic director over at Johnston High School. I think he's doing a great job over there. And I know it's not about him. It's definitely about the kids. But a big shout out to Johnston High School athletic director, Justin Erickson. Keep up the hard work. Definitely do not stop what you are doing. And we had some injuries this week, like always. Barrington losing their quarterback, Wesley's sophomore Khalid Williams with a nice clean hit shoulder to shoulder, taking him out the game. So the question for Barrington right now, are they going to go with the spread like they've been doing with McClellan, or they have the backup coming in and going back to the RPO? So we'll have to keep an eye and see what's going to happen over at Barrington. Just waiting to get some of these scores uploaded here. West Warwick and Pilgrim had a kick-ass game. Pilgrim led that game. West Warwick really, Coach Pennington really showing what he's made of, having resilience, coming back in a tough game, to overcome the Pilgrim Patriots, who gotta have the tallest wide receiver core in the state. Shout out to my man Blizzy Blake. What up, Blizzy Blake? Shout out to my man Blizzy Blake up there doing his thing up at Pilgrim High School. Pilgrim definitely has some dogs up there. Well, that was Westerly Bulldogs. They played Barrington the other night. We're going to talk about that a little bit too. Wesley coming off a 2-game high. It is, I think Ronnie Spizzato told the Providence Journal, one of the kids said it, I read it in the Providence Journal, that it's good to get that loss against a good team early in the season. Pretty much humble yes, but Wesley did give it to Barrington last season. And I bet Barrington, I know Sandy Gorham was looking for the big alpha dog. He was looking for the big alpha dog.
It's time I pull the plug. The game is over. The game is over. It's time I pull the plug. The game is over.
He was looking for the alpha dog, Najee Barrows. Because Najee came in there last year and he weaponized. He turned what he did. He became a weapon. With his height performance. As he comes in. So shout out to my man Najee, who picked up the W last night against Worcester State. Easy what you asked for. You wanted all the smoke. Well, you definitely got all the smoke last night. Dante picking up 199 yards, 2 touchdowns, 13 for 14. How about our man Dante, doing his thing? And the thing, Coach Lima said Dante was not a quarterback, and he had Dante as a wide receiver. Damn, Josh, you wonder why your players don't like you. And a big disclaimer, the use of copyrighted material is used under the guidelines of fair use in Title 17 or 107 of the United States Code, and it's just transformation. Such materials remain the copyright of the original holder and is used just for the purpose of education, comparison, and criticism use only. And before we start, we should always bring to you, let me get it up, the Cato Rule. The views, information, or opinions expressed on Can We Keep It Real podcast are the views of the individual and shouldn't respect anything else. This is, of course, Cato and others getting, things I say, getting their panties in a bunch. So if you can't take me criticizing about your coaching, you are a public figure. Move on. The Can We Keep It Real podcast The views expressed by such guests are solely their own, and we ain't responsible for hurt feelings. So that is the Dave Cato rule. Now we're going to have some more with some high school football scores in just a second. Yo, thank you for tuning into the Can We Keep It Real podcast. We will be right back with more. If you have any information that you want to submit to the Can We Keep It Real podcast, hit us up in the DM. It always remains confidential. We'll be right back with more. If you'd like to promote on the Can We Keep It Real podcast as well, you can also DM me. We can put you right up in the top right-hand corner. And speaking of that, if you're in Oneyville on a late night or you're hungry, get down to the Oneyville, New York system. You can get, everyone knows about their famous wieners and stuff, and people, you don't put ketchup on a wiener. Like, you could really go to wiener hell, I guess. That's what they said, so you can go to wiener hell. You don't put ketchup on a wiener. And if you want a hot dog, say go to 7-Eleven. We don't have hot dogs at the Oneyville, New York system. They got a lot of other things going on over there, but that's a story for another day. Thursday night started out with some great games in Rhode Island high school football. I kind of like the Thursday night vibe. Some of these games were featured with Bishop Hendricken, Portsmouth, East Providence, Cumberland, North Smithfield, Mount St. Charles Co-op, and Tollgate. And speaking of that, we actually have, look, my man, by popular demand, the fans said you got to bring him in. You got to bring in the big dog, Jeff Piver. What's up, Jeff?
Hey, how we doing?
All right, man. Welcome back, by hot demand. Congratulations on a great win the other day.
Thank you.
Tollgate, it is what it is. They definitely have some athletes over there in Tollgate.
Yeah, they play hard from snap to whistle on every play, and they've got some players that can play. Their halfback, number 20, is a really tough tackle. They've got a little slot receiver, number 4, that runs really good routes, and quarterback does pretty good things too. So, it was a nice competitive game. It was a good game.
And you have a team of young kids. Some people say, we don't rebuild, we reload. But in North Smithfield, you have to rebuild the size of the community you have. You have the kids that you have.
Yeah, it is what it is. We have, the peaks and valleys. We'll catch a good class, and we got to ride that wave while it's there. And then when that wave goes, a lot of times it's a valley. So, we just keep working. We're trying to get the kids better. And, the last 2 weeks of practice, I've seen the kids take a big step forward. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Our JV kids finally get a chance to play a game. Weather didn't cooperate with their game last week, so their JV game got canceled, unfortunately. So this is the first chance our JV kids are going to get out there tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to see what they got.
Unfortunately, it's been like that for a few years. JV games are far and in between lately. It ain't like it used to be.
Well, this was couldn't do much about
no, you can't do nothing about the weather, but
tornado,
in general,
tornado flipped the press box over at Lincoln. So, they had some other things going on.
Absolutely.
Crappy weather day. It just wasn't feasible. So, probably the right thing to do is not play.
No, if press box gets flipped over, you got to do what you got to do. Your quarterback went 17 for 27 for 290.
Yeah, he had a nice day.
Absolutely,
he had a nice day, and he actually, I felt he left plays out there too. Some of the decisions he made were aggressive when he had some other stuff that he could have made better decisions on. But that's just me being nitpicky on a sophomore that had a good night. Just challenging him to be better. But yeah, he was good. And the kids made plays for him. Ethan Corvo had 8 catches. TJ Smith had 5 or 6 catches. the kids went out and made plays for him.
Yeah, Smith ended the day with 151 all-purpose yards. Corbo had 102. So, shout out to them boys. Black had what? They had 209 total yards for number 12. And even McGuire, safety, 58 all-purpose yards for offensive yards.
Yeah, he's Sean's our fullback. He's a senior. He does a lot of the dirty work for us, chips away 3, 4, 5 yards on some dives and leads the way. Nikolai Alger ran the ball really, really good. That is his first career start at running back. And he looked good. He ran the ball hard. So we had a lot of guys do some good things. And we needed it. For us to be successful, we need all 11 guys on the field hitting. All it takes is one guy.
Right now, overall, you're 1-2 and you're 1-1 in the league. So it's good to be 1-1 in your division right now. You're 5th in Division 3A. I believe you got to kind of get to 4-3 maybe to have a safe spot.
Yeah, I think 4 wins will probably guarantee you at least a spot. Anything less than that, you're going to be crossing your fingers and hope all the teams knock each other off. But we just got to play 1 week at a time and can't really look into that too much. We just got to build on what we did this week and hopefully keep going. I mean, the reality of the situation is we're going to have games like we had against Lincoln and Ponaganset. That's just going to happen to us. The trick for us is how we rebound from it. So we can't feel sorry for ourselves. We got to, turn around and play again and try to steal one. And who knows, if we steal enough of them, we could be there in the end.
Oh, absolutely. And you have a few tough matchups coming up. You have Glasgow, which hasn't really been playing all too great. You have Tolman, which Tolman took a tough loss, I think, this past weekend.
Yep.
I think Glasgow is manageable. I think you guys, and then you have Coventry, which Coventry, their identity is still Mez, but it looks like Jimmy Cook over there, controlling things, got the clip thing around his neck. So, we'll see what happens with Coventry, but another tough team who's also, I think, 2-0.
Yeah, that's going to be three tough game stretch for us. Classical is just coming off of beating Middletown 2 weeks ago. They ran into a tough Lincoln team and they played them tooth and nail for a long, long time in that game. So, Classical is well coached. They've got some really good athletes. The running back, Duke, is a tough tackle. He runs hard. He's an elite athlete.
And it's in the family too. You see his older brother.
Yeah. Yep. And sometimes you come across kids like that and you got to play them. It's a good measuring stick to see where we are in terms of athleticism. And, they've got a quarterback who runs really, really well and throws really, really well. He's going to be the X factor, I think, in their season and in the division. I'm really impressed with what I saw with him on tape. And they've got some playmakers out at wide receiver. They have 4 guys out there most of the time, and you fall asleep on any one of them, they're going to jump up and bite you. So they've got 4 kids who can play at that receiver position. So Classical is going to be a tough game.
I love what your booster club does. I love the way that they do the fundraising. Fundraising has been a big, conversation lately, ups and downs. A lot of coaches want no part of it, because of, a lot of the things that come along with it. Do you like the way your booster club handles the fundraising? Because they do everything, right?
I love it. I don't have to touch a thing.
You just promote it.
They have, and we provide, one of our parents has to sit on the board, or not on the board. They have to sit and help with some of that fundraising stuff. Parents kind of work the gates at the home games. But yeah, they do everything. They set their schedule out, they set their fundraisers out, and then it all gets divvied up among the sports teams, provided that you have representation with the parent in the NSAA. And then when we need something, we submit a need want form, and bingo bango, we have it in our office. So it's really, really nice. It means I don't have to do it. It means I don't have to deal with any of that headache. And so thankful for those guys who do it, because our athletic department couldn't run without them.
Absolutely. You sent one of your ball players went out to UMass Dartmouth this season, and UMass Dartmouth by the half yesterday was 53-0. Our, the former wide receiver, Dante Al Santos up there, which we even thought couldn't throw the ball. He was 13 for 14, 199, 2 touchdowns, and that was only by halftime.
Well,
congratulations to him.
Yeah, they're a well-oiled machine right about now. So, that if teams aren't careful, that could happen just about every week. Those guys are looking to play hard, and they've got it going. So hopefully they can keep it going.
Oh, actually, I think it has been happening every week.
Yeah.
They go from a bowl game to a championship, and they just have some great athletes. And let's not forget, they have 35 former Rhode Island Interscholastic League players on their roster.
Love seeing that. It just proves that if you just work and look hard enough, the kids in this state, they can play, right? So don't give up on them.
Absolutely. Now, we'll put aside Coach Piver. I'll talk to Jeff, the high school football fan. What do you think about what you've been seeing around the Rhode Island high school football week? I mean, there's been some great games, some upsets, some games that you're like, wow.
Yeah.
What do you think as a fan?
Well, as a fan, you got to love it. Every game has potential to be a great one. And while I don't necessarily agree with where we were aligned all the time, the alignment has provided pretty competitive divisions. Whether it's the perfect fix, I don't know, but we have to give them credit where credit's due. It's been competitive the last 2 years. And that's due in part to some of the realignment decisions that they made. My feelings aside, it's been competitive, so it's fun to watch every week.
Well, yeah, they loaded up the middle. Like, everybody's concentrating on 2 and 3, and it's sad because 4 don't get much attention, and 1 is boring.
Yeah,
because you got to wait every other week for a division game, so it's like, oh my god, I got to wait 2 weeks. That's how, like, last year they were putting a D2 game in the middle of it, and it's like, all right, well, they don't count towards their overall percentage rank, so it's kind of like, so hopefully, I think this next realignment, they should go with 4 years. They should do a 4-year realignment, put more teams in one, and I think it'll equal off, and then you'll have 4 years to see before the next realignment. But that's why that's other people make them decisions.
Absolutely, and
some great games.
You're never gonna get that perfect. It's just impossible to get it perfect. So, it is what it is, and at least if it's going to be this way, at least let the middle grounds, have good games, and I think that's kind of what we got.
Absolutely. Wesley and Barrington were going head to head this week. Barrington just controlled that game, 37-0. Barrington loses their quarterback halfway through the game. The backup quarterback. Now, Barrington has 2 playbooks, basically. You have, they're an RPO team, but this quarterback couldn't really couldn't really get the RPO, so they go spread. Now he comes out. Now they have an RPO to come back in. So we'll really have to wait and see if they're going to be a spread team now or an RPO team, depending who their quarterback is. But it's nice to have either or, huh?
Coach Gorham does a fantastic job. They've been a triple option team for a really long time. They rode that triple option to perfection a few years ago. They couldn't stop it. So they've made adjustments to their personnel, and they're gonna coach it up. That's good on them. And
another game I wanted to bring up, I think LaSalle and Central had a dogfight, and in the end, Mike Washington said it himself, I'm to blame for the offense. They fall short by 1, so it ended 21-20, but shout out to Central, for battling out with LaSalle.
That's a good game, and it speaks volumes to the kids and their willingness to compete. I think that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing that we have as coaches have to do and have to get across. And Coach Washington does a great job with that. And that's, making sure the compete level is right. If the compete level is right and the kids go out there and compete, it's a football game, man, and anything can happen. And, he just proved he's step for step with one of the best teams in the state.
Absolutely. And another game I wanted to bring up, my man Blizzy Blake had a real good game against one of your mentors, Coach Pennington with the West Warwick Wizards. And I'll tell you what, this game speaks volumes of what a man like West Pennington means to a program. Like Pilgrim had him against the ropes that game, and West Warwick was able to come back and win that game 14-13, but you can't take nothing away from Blizzy Blake and the Pilgrim Patriots.
No, I don't think you can take anything away from either team. I've played against both of those programs in the past few years. We have a joint practice with West Warwick at the beginning of our season. So I kind of know what they're all about. I obviously know what Coach Pennington's all about and what they're going to bring to the table. Seeing with my own eyes, they've got some special athletes that they can be pretty versatile with. So they can run the ball, which deep down I think is what they want to do. And when that's not there, or when you try to load up against it, now you got to try to deal with these 6'3" dudes that can run and jump and catch, and it's just a nightmare. And Pilgrim, they play really, really hard all the time. I don't think I've seen a Pilgrim game on film or in person where those kids don't play hard. And that speaks directly to Coach Simpson. That's his personality. That's his energy. And the kids buy into that. And I think he's got a firm grasp on that program and where he wants it to go. And, that's what you get with Pilgrim. You're going to get kids that play hard from the opening kickoff till the final buzzer.
Yeah, player of the game in that game was Dylan Roberts with 1 carry, 1 rush for a touchdown. And also number 33, I think Cole Roberts, Chase Roberts, the quarterback, healthy this season, and that's got to be the tallest wide receiver core in the state. Like them guys got to be 6'3", 6'4", a piece over there. So I mean,
yeah,
kudos to Coach Blake.
West Warwick has the same height out there at wide receiver. I know when we practiced against them, our guys were short. Our guys were short. But that's nice to have 6-foot receivers. Gotta love it.
And I love what I see out of Burrillville, man. Jolinas, I said it. I remember a couple of years ago, his older brother, him and DeCharo, they were tearing it up 2019. They both get recruited to UMass Dartmouth. And his dad told me, he said, Mikey, wait till my Logan grows up. And, Logan is all grown up now. And
he sure is.
He's took a nice game away from Mount Pleasant this weekend.
He sure is. And that was the beginning of our uptick in North Smithfield. We played that Burrillville team where Jolinas was a senior, I believe, and playing quarterback. And he gave us fits. He ran around the field and gave us fits. He single-handedly carried them to that victory over us. And, we've seen him in 7-on-7s the last few years. And when we saw the youngest come in as a freshman and he was quarterback in that younger group, you could see that he was going to be good. And then this summer he showed up and he looked like a man. He was 25 pounds heavier, a couple inches taller, really in complete control of his game. He's really, really good. He's really good. And, he's only going to get better. Coach Gennaro does a great job.
Absolutely. And now he's the new president of the Coaches Association. So, salute to him. Absolutely. He does a great job. I like what I see from Burrville. The Keller kid, is really putting it on. So, watch out for Burrville. And that's why I think when they put them to D1, I was like, they're a great D2 team, just like Pilgrim is a great D3 team. Are they going to cry if they go to D2? Not publicly. Just like, you're in D3, you bite your lip a lot. You know what I mean? But you take what's in front of you.
It is what it is. You just got to play who's on your schedule. You can't control that. So whatever the committee, whatever the formula says we are, that's what we are.
Yeah, I wish they'll make the formula more kind of, I don't know, they need to fix something because, it's definitely kind of a little lopsided. Like, I think if it would go today or let's say last season, Pono would drop before you. And I was like,
there's a couple teams that are probably lined up to drop before us, which is,
and that's like, whoa, like seriously. And a couple of teams, if you said, oh, who's the better team, they would, no disrespect, they would say, oh, this team is the better team, and they would still drop before you. So that's why I think the alignment is crazy. That's a story for another day, Coach Private. I don't want to take up all your Sunday, man. Thank you. Salute to you. Your staff's doing great. Shout out to my man Eddie. A lot of people say Eddie's my benefactor. I wish he was my benefactor, but salute to Eddie.
No, I've got a great staff. Coach Insko works really, really hard with our offensive and defensive lines. Coach Carafel is our defensive coordinator who works with our running backs and our defensive backs. Coach Storm works with linebackers with me. He's been working special teams pretty heavy this year for us. And I think the most exciting thing about our coaching staff is we've gotten a couple of young kids, former players that have come back to help us. Jack Pachetti, our old quarterback that led us to the 2 Super Bowls. He's come back, and Josh Carafel was a receiver and defensive back on those teams. So Jack's coaching up our quarterbacks when he's here. Josh Carafel is working our defensive backs and wide receivers when he's here. And I think that's the most important part of our program is the kids that want to come back. Like even Cole Vowles and Zach Kerrigan, they're off doing their own thing in school. I don't think Cole's missed a game yet. He's worn the headset. He's been my eyes up in the booth, talking down to me during the games. He knows what I'm thinking before I do it. So, it's kind of nice to have some of that. And Jack's the same way. And, it's nice to have our family come back home. And
absolutely, man. Yo, that's a little emotional there. But salute to Cole Vowles and all them guys, coming back and supporting the team. I know Cole's like itching, like, oh, I wish I could put my pads on. Great kid, Cole, Zach. Oh, exactly. That's a fact. But you got some great kids over there. You got a great parent group, and speaking of parents, a lot of coaches say, if parents ever want to, slice up some oranges, for the game, or even make some PB&J sandwiches for halftime, I don't know if you recommend it, but a lot of coaches said, parents, if you want to do something like that, just feel free to ask the coach. They're not really scary people.
No, we're definitely not scary people, but our team mom, Catherine Rasco, is on top of all that stuff. Like,
nice, see, that's what we need.
I don't have to blink. She's unbelievable. She's come up with unveiling a new mascot. We had a new mascot a couple weeks ago. She's all about it. If we have a pizza party or whatever, she's the one behind the scenes. She handles all the senior gifts at the end of the year. She does everything for us. Right down. She dropped Subway off last year at the Tolman game. Like, turn around and she's got sandwiches for every kid on the team. Like, she's unbelievable. She stays on top of that. She collects from the parents. Everybody kind of chips in, and thankfully I have her because the kids would miss out on some of this other stuff if it was left up to me because I'm all work all the time. So,
well, salute to Mama Rasco. You know what I mean? Salute to her. And just what it means to teams to have a mama in the house like that. You know what I mean? That's willing to do them extra things, because just to take something off of the coach's shoulders, because, you know, so much goes into the game plan, and these kids need them halftime, you know, to give oranges to kids at halftime, give them that extra boost, or even the PB&J sandwiches, you know, up in Wesley, they was cutting them in like quarters, and, you know, they need that extra energy towards halftime. Because some teams just, you know, it's tough to carry a 4-quarter team. So,
I know
I
that.
just always, definitely. It's. I always urge parents to do that. Well, Coach Piver, I don't want to keep you. I know you got a lot of game planning to do today. But shout out to you, North Smithfield, your whole organization, new athletic director, and all, man. You just seen the beginning of a great program.
Thank you. I appreciate it. As always, you know, thanks for letting me come on and talk about my kids, and they mean the world to us. And, you know, any chance I get to talk about them, I'll take it. So thank you.
Absolutely. I'm trying to adjust to my new schedule. My work schedule is a little different from last season, but, you know, we're working it. But Coach Piver, man, thank you. Congratulations on the win. And I hope this is, you know, you did more to come.
All we can do is keep working, Mikey. Thank you. We appreciate it.
All right, Coach Piver in the building. Talk to you soon.
See ya.
Well, there we have it. Coach Jeff Piver in the building, coming in, chopping it up. We're going to see if we can reach out to some other coaches. And I think this is pretty interesting, developing the next generation of great sports officials. Well, Ref Reps is in the house with RIIL, because without officials, there are no games. All we need to do is our part to attract, sustain, and grow the next generation of game officials. With that in mind, the RIIL is excited to work with Ref Reps to provide an online officiating curriculum specific to NFHS playing rules that is interactive, engaging, and available to our member high schools. What does that mean? Well, they're going to start teaching Ref Reps as an elective in some of the Rhode Island high school programs. We'll be right back.
Betty probably went home and cried too. I chucked the line in the cafeteria. Lunch lady gave me a bowl of gravy, some mashed potatoes, and real with it. So ill with it, I think I need a medical leave. I got my foot on their neck and I ain't letting them breathe. He say he nicer, but he ain't never said it to me. Flow so cold, minus like 7 degrees. Go get your chinchilla, that painkiller nigga with it getting sick of me. Cause instantly when they hurt me, they could wear it was history. Hickory, dickory, doctor, the flow so crazy it belong on the top floor. I felt 6 feet, even when I was 5'4".
Going over some scores real quick. Cumberland up over East Providence 33-6. That was a dog walk right there. East Providence was up on a high after beating St. Ray's. St. Ray's said, don't worry, we'll see you again. That's the message St. Ray's sends to East Providence. Well, Cumberland, aside from the rally of people wearing them great shirts out there, which I had no part of, replace Lima, hashtag. Let me get this picture back up here. You know, Cumberland wins that 33-6, and we just talked to North Smithfield head coach. He wins that 24-7. The Bishop Hendricken game, 55 over Portsmouth, putting up 7 points. And West Warwick and Pilgrim had a dogfight themselves. Pilgrim ahead, and West Warwick just pulling it out to win that one, 13-4. You know, Lincoln and number 20, Classical. Well, Lincoln does what Lincoln's been doing, puts the hammer down to Chris McCall, and Classical 35-26. And a lot of people, yes, the score is right. Central Falls, all the smoke, Central Falls, they were supposed to come out and be about it. But EWG, on a game where they had the lights, they were all rocking at EWG on this night, putting up 34 big ones to Central Falls. Zippo EWG was definitely on top of their game. I'm here. Tyler Stanton had a few tutties. Congratulations to him as well. St. Ray's and Cranston West, doing what they do. St. Ray's upset because they couldn't punch it in a week before. Ends up winning their tight contest with Cranston, a score of 14-13. Woonsocket shutting out Shea 19-0. Cranston East and SK doing what SK has been doing. Wins 41-18, but you ask me, just follow my man Amani doing his thing, putting SK on his shoulders and just working it. North Providence and Situate having another tight matchup. A lot of 1-point games this weekend for North Providence, holding on to win that one 22-21. Mount Hope and Narragansett matching up 46-26. Two teams that a lot of people are keeping their eye on. So, Narragansett winning that contest. And Ponaganset and Johnston Panthers, they matched up. And one thing I'm going to say, I think I want to react to that one on my own. But Johnston Panthers, putting the boots out, Coach Dave Cato and his staff. Like, I got to say, it's getting pathetic over there at Ponaganset because we have a team full of kids that are all experienced ball players. We've seen these kids perform. We know Grenier can get it done. They're just being poorly coached. And kids, keep your head up. This is not your fault. You just keep playing your game. But at one point, do we worry about if someone's going to get really, really hurt? Because obviously Dave Cato was in way over his head. You had a great guy in Dave Valley. Since you weren't going to stay with Cook, you had a great guy in Dave Valley. But Palazzo said, nah, we need a guy like Dave Cato because we know Dave Cato will ruin this thing. It is what it is. Everybody knows it. Just read the comment section on some of the Dave Cato posts. The man's taking his own out. He's taking his own out, and that's a fact. We'll definitely have more for you coming up soon.
That's the bad guy. Bad guy. Bad guy. That's the bad guy. The bad guy. The bad guy. Commission. The bad guy. The bad guy.
Well, I appreciate everybody's love and admiration, man. Thank you, and we'll be back with more. And one of the best games all year.
Yo, it was great. We actually practiced.
Federal, switchy brand. Let's go. Come take a ride through my city like.
It's going to be, you're in a hole now. It's going to be hard to dig out of that hole.
This is city living, mostly them city children. From my bedroom, see the lights of them city buildings. Ain't gotta act hard, Prov is my backyard. I run road out, you can call me a track star. And we a team, homie, all is one. I don't sleep until all is done. I ain't ruckus, so please don't call me Mr. 401. It's Mr. Rags, you can call me, I'm still in that 401. From where we was, look at all these colors. For what it's worth, I put my all in the sun. Know that my city love it. Think I give about my city's budget, about my city's public, know how my city does
West Elwood Intruders. There's a lot of guys that deserve opportunities, but for some reason the city is fumbling. They're fumbling. They're really fumbling. I mean, we can get into it, Mike. You know the story. I was at Juanita Sanchez.
I have to thank, Coach Dino Campopiano and his staff over at Shea.
If you come out freshman year, man, I tell my nephews, we're building that foundation 7th, 8th grade, and we're on record in 9th grade. You know what I mean?
You're still here? You're still here. It's over. We're leaving.